Alright, so now we're going to get back into our analyzing Lord of the Rings here. So, Chapter 9 of the Two Towers of Book 3, which is titled Flotsam and Jetsam. Now, what is a flotsam and a jetsam? Well, so flotsam is wreckage and other goods found in the sea, so floating wreckage. And jetsam is discarded goods washed ashore. Which, of course, this is reference to all of the, with Isengard being flooded, all the storehouses of Saruman being destroyed, and you see, all this food and stuff floating through there, plus pieces, I'm sure, pieces of the wall and pieces of the engines that the orcs had built to build up the armies and all that stuff. And in this chapter, Merry and Pippin tell Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas, how this all came to be, about their journey with the Ents, which helps, solve some riddles that Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas, some questions that they had, and then that's basically the whole chapter. Is just them talking about what happened, and this is not something that you would normally do when writing a book. Tolkien very unconventional, but this chapter to me is just kind of boring, kind of like the Road to Isengard, but so basically, the Ents march into Isengard, they tear on the wall, and then, they start killing all the orcs, fighting with them, and then they, of course, Treebeard commands them to flood Isengard, and so they do that. They destroy basically Saruman's whole army, and obviously, some Ents went down south to the Battle of Helm's Deep, as we saw earlier, to help out with that. And, Merry and Pippin had mentioned that Saruman and Grima Wormtongue are in the tower locked away together. And so Aragorn and Gimli and Legolas, ask about that and how that happened. And so basically what they did was, Wormtongue comes, it says, he's got messages from the king to Saruman. He's a little frightened by what he sees. And, he basically gets chased into the tower. And him and Saruman are locked there. And there was one point, too, when the Ents were destroying Isengard, where Saruman was outside. And he almost gets killed by the Ents. Because they're like, look over there, there's the tree killer. And, so here they are, eating and smoking together. They're finally reunited. And now Gandalf is going to go pay Saruman a little visit before they have to leave Isengard and go on to the next stage of the journey, which, of course, is Gondor. And we got to go have a confrontation with Sauron's forces. And there you go. That is Flotsam and Jetsam. Short, but sweet. Anyway, join me for the next video, the Voice of Saruman, and I will see you all there.